pack breakers downstairs in the vendor room. You need a 45-card draw deck at the very least. You can have 100 cards in your deck. You can do it commander style. Do I have that right, Magic people?
Yeah, 100 cards.
There we go. You need at least 45 cards in your deck, and then you have a 10-card problem deck, which is kind of where you play problems too. If anyone's played Star Wars, it's kind of like the locations in that game. And then you have one main who's sort of your anchor point of any of the, originally the main 6, now we have editions of the princesses and the Mod Pie and Vinyl.
More of that later.
DJ Punk 3, more on that later. And some sort of counter. A lot of people, it's basically to count your action tokens. Some people use all sorts of different things. Everything from dice, little glass beads, really just like some sort of currency to keep track of your score and your action tokens.
Yeah, and they do have some included in the kits for you.
Indeed. And that's something you can get creative with, but we'll talk more about that later. So let's talk about the cards. We're just going to kind of go through a step-by-step top view explanation of what each of the cards are for, what they do, like what you would put into a deck if you were to build a deck, so you don't go into a game with 45 resources and not be able to do anything. So we're going to start with, Allegra is going to talk about the characters.
Yep. So there are 2 characters you use to try to win the game with. Your deck starts with what's called a main character. I have them all right here. After the panel, if you want to do a little show and tell and kind of take a look at what they all look like, I have them here for you. The main character is sort of the representation of what you want your deck to do. There's one that's, like we said, for all the main 6, which we'll show in a little bit. There's some for the other characters. And really, this card, you start and play with it, and it's meant to sort of be there to represent what you're going to do, some core strategies of your deck, as well as just sort of a flavor of, well, this is best pony, so obviously this is the right main to play. In my case, it's Twilight Sparkle. So if you don't play Twilight Sparkle, you probably don't have a deck as good as mine. That's just how it is.
Says the man running a dash main.
Shush you.
Ooh.
So there really isn't too much to go on to the main until you want to get into the rules, but the main character has 2 sides, a start and a boost. The boost is usually foil. Some of them aren't, some of them will be later. So you do something, and it gets better, and it stays on the field forever because you're awesome. So on to friends. This is kind of the core thing of if you play Magic or Pokemon. In Magic, it would be your creatures. In Pokemon, it would be your Pokemon. Friends are what you use to solve the problems, which we'll get into in a second. Friends, they have card anatomy, but we're not going to get into that too much. They have a color and a power, you can see in the top right-hand corner. There are 6 colors in the game for each of the 6 elements of harmony. So obviously this is, a white friend. The community calls them different things. Usually it's white. Some people call it generosity.
You're racist.
Why is it gonna be white, yo?
But so you use your main characters and you use your mains and your friends as your characters to solve your problems. Speaking of problems, next slide is the problems. This is what a problem card looks like. When newer people who are brand new to card games see these cards, this is usually when beginners look at me and go, "What do I do?" A problem is something that both you and your opponent can go to. When you play a demo in the Crystal Arena later, which all of you will be doing, right? Yes? Yes? Okay, good. So, which you also get a free pack for, by the way. You have 2 problems. You have a problem deck and your opponent has a problem deck. And you will play your friends to the problems to try and solve them. There's card text, there's bonus points. That's not really the important part. The important part is that there's 2 sides, side facing you, side facing your opponent. You play your friends, and you try to score to 15 and win. So that's the general idea of what a problem is.
Moving on to events and resources. Perry's going to take over for this one.
Yes. All right. So first off, we have our events. These, for those who play Magic, these are more like your instants, your sorceries. Most of them can only be played during your turn. Specifically, for example, this one, it says main phase, so therefore it specifies that you can only play it during your main phase. they'll oftentimes just be like little helpful things. Some of them will even go as far as dismissing opponents' friends. That's about it for that one. Resource-wise, now these are a lot like Magic's artifacts or equipments. These are a lot more. They have a lot more utility to them, in my opinion. For example, there's a card called Victual Stand that you can exhaust, and it'll add power to another friend by exhausting another. From there on, there's just a lot of things there. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
And
stumbling over everything.
No, that's fine. They can take the form of a couple of different types. Like, like it says on the card, it's a condition. Twilight obviously had too much pie. Some of them are, I forget what it's, accessories. So, all of Rarity's fabulous outfits or hats or whatever. They can take many forms, and sometimes you put it on a friend, sometimes you put it somewhere. You put it on the field, it does a thing. Everyone's happy. Well, you're usually the happiest. But,
Usually, there are different types that some you can play like too much pie, play on your opponent's friend to make them less happy. Some you play to your home, some you play on the problem itself, like some you can use to move your opponent's characters away from that problem to sort of build up a defense. There's a lot of different types. Just kind of take a look, and you don't have. Another thing to note is you don't have to have any resources or events. Basically, you have to have friends in your deck to actually get to the problems, but don't feel like you have to put events in your deck. Don't feel like you have to put resources in your event. And resources in your event, bleh. You know what I'm trying to say.
Play how you want.
Play how you want. We're big fans of that philosophy. Moving onward.
Troublemakers.
Troublemakers personally are one of my favorite mechanics.
Yes, they are.
Basically, the easiest way to think about it is it's just like it is in the show. I mean, they kind of get in the way of what else you're trying to accomplish. Whether it's something that affects both you and your opponent once it's played, or it's something that just messes with your opponent. Obviously, Chrysalis is what's called a villain, so she affects both sides of the card. So she is obnoxious and she messes with everybody. But then there's somebody like Flim, who Flim and Flam didn't really affect Pinkie too much, but man, oh man, did they make Applejack's life a little bit more difficult. So
they're jerks. Not really villainous. They're just kind of
in the way. It's kind of a way to think about it. And
They cause trouble, yeah.
they are makers of trouble. Troublemakers.
And there is text on cards to let you know, most troublemakers will have some sort of effect that, again, during certain parts of the game will affect it. But it's a good way to sort of help defend, you have to go deal with this guy while I continue to solve my problem way better than you could. So, it's kind of the best way to think about it.
She's so modest.
And the game does reward you for defeating the troublemakers too. As you can see, there's a points thing, which really that basically means when you beat it, you get that score. It blocks you, but then you can also get a big benefit from defeating it. So there definitely is strategy as to whether you're going to play them or not, and how you play them. So.
Usually the more obnoxious it is to fight, the more points you get from it. So Flim, all you have to do is beat a 3 in a face-off, which we'll talk about the concept of face-offs later. But you only get 1 point for beating him. On the other hand, appendage, you have villains.
Which is, like I said, I mentioned before, Chrysalis. Now, Chrysalis is a lot harder to, as whether it's you or you or your opponent, is a little more difficult to sort of defeat. So she obviously gives you 3 points. So again, and the main point of the game is to be the better friend, really. That's what it boils down to. And being a better friend, you want to be at 15 points first. And so 3 points off a single troublemaker before you get to anything else is a lot of points to give away. So you have to, again, it's all about strategy. And any one of us, when you go over to the Crystal Arena, or if you catch one of us walking around, we love to talk strategy all day long. That's what we do.
A little too much sometimes.
But it is a lot of fun. You just kind of pick things. When this card came out, I saw it and I was like, I'm going to run that card no matter what it takes. Why? Because it's Chrysalis. That's It's not because it necessarily works for what I was doing at the time. It's because I saw it and I wanted to play that card, so I decided to play that card. Some people are very tied to that concept of, I have to play this way, so they form around the strategy rather than around the cards. But again, I play the main that I play because she's my favorite, not because she's the easiest, not because she's the most efficient, but because she's my favorite.
She just happens to be the most efficient.
I will say I saw a few people with hands raised. We will be doing an FAQ session afterwards, so if you could
Yes.
just please hold your questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Take notes. There may be prizes.
Yes,
Pop
we will be giving away
quiz.
prizes. So go ahead.
Moving onward to how you actually, we talk about scoring points. How do you do that?
And again, we've already sort of touched on that. You score points by confronting problems or solving problems. Then you also can get points by defeating troublemakers. So when you win against one of those, they usually, like we said, have a point value.
There's also some
There are some resources and
resources and friends events that will also
So-
allow for extra point gain via
Yes.
meeting some requirement that they'll have to have.
there are cards that allow for extra points, which is really fun.
A lot of those are in the white suite of cards, the generosity suite. So if you're more fancy than your opponent, you can score some extra points. If you're truly outrageous,
Win out of fabulosity.
Face-offs. Face-off is the mechanic in which allows you to get 2 more points. So a face-off is what you have to have with a troublemaker or a villain, something like that. They basically what it is you take your power value that you have in front of the card, the power value of the troublemaker itself, and then you flip the top card of your deck. And whoever has the most power at the end of that flip is the winner. Now again, there are resources, there are events, there are things that will affect. Either it'll affect your flip, it'll affect your how much power is on the card that you just flipped over. You'll see this card a lot. It's called Critter Cavalry, I guess we're so used to calling it Critter Cav, but Critter Cavalry, which is one of those cards you will see more than anything else probably that adds 5 power to your flip. So it's usually a really good one to have. But depending on who wins the face-off. So you either have a face-off against troublemakers, you can have a face-off against your opponent. So say you both go after the same problem, and you both solve that problem very well. Well, we can't have just one problem sitting there with everybody doing what they're supposed to, because then the game just sits there. So you now go against your friend and say, well, I'm the better problem solver. What is your problem? So you take your power value versus their power value, and again, you flip a card. There are a multitude of ways this can happen. There are, again, events that allow you to start single face-offs. There are any number of ways to do it. So again, a lot of this will be a lot easier to understand when you actually get to play with some cards and sit down and actually get your hands on them. But there's a lot of really fun ways to accomplish the same thing. But face-offs are usually the core of where you gain the most points.
all right, so let's talk about the mains. We talked about the main type of cards, usually these two-sided cards, well, always these two-sided cards. So we're just going to kind of walk through each one, each of the colors, each of the current ones that are out, including the ones that have just been released in Rock and Rave. Let's talk about what sets them apart, what kind of strategies they lend themselves toward. And we are going to start with Allegro's waifu.
So, of course, I requested to do this one. This is one of the mains from actually the second set that came out a few months ago, Kennerlot Knights, Twilight Sparkle Gala Greeter. There is a whole suite of these for all the main 6. Some of them you'll see in this presentation. I'm not really going to talk about text because, like I said, you guys can read and there's demos and you guys will get to experience all that yourself, so I don't want to rob you of that. But I do want to talk a little bit about just how purple works. Let me see, does that mean? That mean doesn't have studious, that's okay.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it does have studious? Okay, yeah, there we go. I didn't see it from here. So purple, all the colors currently have a course effect that they're able to do. Purple has one called Studious, which says when you win a face-off involving that card, you can get an action token. And action tokens are used to, do everything, play things. If you notice, a lot of the cards will have like a cost in a little white circle. That's what you need to play stuff. So what Twilight does is, if you win a little better than everyone else. Well, it is Twilight, so I mean,
As I say, which is very Twilight.
She's learning from her victory.
Good politically correct
Well put,
answer,
well
Rob.
put.
Yes.
Purple tends to have a slight more of a control style strategy. There's a lot of, moving friends to other places, a lot of just getting lots of tokens. So if you like that sort of play style, kind of holding back and having fewer big plays than a lot of little plays, then purple is definitely a color for you. And there are definitely more purple mains than that one of which you will see a little later, and there are definitely more twilights than this. So yeah, that's a little bit of purple.
In purple, there's also a little bit, like, in addition to the control, there are cards in it that really have some force behind it. Cards that gain power based on how much power it relays across the problem from you, or reduce the power that your opponent has during face-offs. So it's a nice blend. Like, I like purple a lot because it's a good blend between control and force. So if you like to kind of throw some weight around, but you want to make their life miserable as well, purple is a really, really great color for that.
Yeah, you can think about it as like Twilight learning from her opponent's moves and kind of reacting from there.
Plus, there's a certain Princess of the Night who mostly resides in purple, so that might give you some bias.
Moving on to Applejack.
Mine. Probably one of my more favorite of all the mains, at least currently right now. I've always considered her to be the easiest to flip because of her need to flip is only that you have to have more power than the problem that you're trying to confront requires. So it makes it real easy to get your board's all set up and ready to go, so you can play just about anything you need to play. This AJ specifically has the ability Stubborn, which is the ability that if she is exhausted, her power can still apply towards face-offs, when usually if a card that doesn't have Stubborn would not. This helps greatly when facing against, i.e., Chrysalis, who likes to exhaust friends during these face-offs.
Let's just say Big Mac can take out a Chrysalis single-hooved.
Yes. Big Mac, the bane of my existence.
Why am I not running orange? Oh wait, the couch. That's right.
Orange
You like
in
having
general,
a roof.
Orange in general just has a very, very nice power base to it. So it's real easy to jump in and start running. It does make things a little bit slow though, but overall it's a really, really easy color to play, in my opinion.
Also to note that, like, we're showing examples. Like, right now there are 2 of each of the main 6. Each of them have like a different flip condition. So like this one, all you have to do is basically overpower a problem. There's another version of Applejack that works differently. So
Yep. Yeah, like if you want to see any of the mains, I will have them up here if you want to take a look of like, oh, well, this is the other Applejack, or this is whatever. You know.
Yes, there are currently basically two of each of the main 6.
Yeah, 2 of all the mains.
With the exception of Rarity, which there are 3.
Oh yeah, Rarity
as,
does have
as
that.
of right now, yeah.
As of right
And
now.
there are also 3 versions of the Luna.
Yes.
Yep.
Onward to Rarity.
Okay, so Rarity is my favorite. Rarity, I will say, out of all the colors, is one of the more difficult to play. She's, for the most part now, it depends on which version you're talking about. This particular one is a little bit more difficult to reach her sort of boosted side. But that being said, white is all about, white is definitely control. It's also pulling from your discard deck. You need to stop it. One of our wonderful con staff down here is one of our play group as well, and he does not like my deck very much. So, but Rarity
Buy him a beer
is-
later.
Yeah, Rarity is very much basically her key text is inspired. Inspired does stack, so say you have multiple cards with that term on it, you get to look at the top card at the beginning of your turn. You get to look at the top card of your opponent's deck. Say I have 3 inspired on the board, I can look at 3 of the top cards on your deck and then decide what order they go, whether they go on top or whether they go on the bottom of your deck. So if I see a card that I'm like, that's not really going to help me out later, I would love for you to not have that. It goes to the bottom of their deck. And that's kind of, and Rarity is all about, we all know Rarity. She wants things to be very particular in her way, and that's really what she does here. She sets it up to make things her way. It's more difficult. It's more expensive to move to her. Her resources she gets are, her hats. She loves her hats. Some of them make it more expensive to move to problems. Some of them make it more expensive to move away from problems. I mean, she also has a very strong mechanic where it allows you to pull out of your discard and play out of your discard pile. So you kind of gain back cards that you had to lose for whatever. And again, there's a lot of reasons you might lose cards, but she allows you to get some of those back depending on what mechanics you're playing. And kind of keep in mind, we are kind of 2 full sets in, a third set's getting ready to come out. So there's a lot of cards to look at and a lot of mechanics to sort of get to know. But this is really there. So each main has multiple things they can do, but Rarity's main one is board control through making things more expensive, and face-off control by looking at the top of your deck.
So she can basically ruin your life.
He's
That
so
could go to
mean.
the bottom. That can stay on top. That can go to the bottom. Lovely. Horrid.
Lovely. Horrid.
Oh my gosh.
Fluttershy. If you ever play competitively, you're going to see that card a lot.
Yes.
A lot.
Only
Too
sometimes.
much.
Yeah.
Too much.
A lot. She, as you can imagine, is very critter friendly. There are cards in friend cards that have the critter trait. So a lot of her cards have to do with having lots of critters. And Fluttershy is a very swarmy kind of play style. Like, it's a lot of like playing stuff from hand. It's a lot of like low power friends, but you just overpower them with evil, angry angel bunnies.
He's not kidding.
Her signature trait is called Caretaker. Anytime any card with that Caretaker trait is at a problem, it gets +1 power, which if you're playing a yellow deck, odds are you're going to have a critter somewhere. So, and this one in particular is really, really efficient. Fluttershy really plays well to efficiency because the friends are super cheap. And there's a card called Forest Owl that is just 1 to play, but it gives +1 to every other friend at that problem. So if you have 15 any friends, not even just critters, at a problem, if you're the opponent, you're gonna have a bad time.
Probably the best drawback to it, though, is that it's a 0 flip.
It's also 0 flip, so that's the drawback of these swarm decks is you're gonna have a lot of really cheap, efficient people to play, but
like
they're
you
all
need
going to be
an
low
owl
flips. So you're gonna be flipping a lot of 1s and 2s and the occasional critical 0 exactly when you need a 5.
Looks like someone needs an owl trouble.
Onward to Pinkie Pie.
She's so happy.
Oh, yes, Pinkie. I love this one. I don't know, not a whole lot of people actually played the old one, but the old one here is basically, Pink is very good at handling friends, specifically your opponent's friends sometimes, most of the times, just about every time.
Yes.
It also has the offhanded ability of doing problem manipulation. This means either mostly increasing the requirement of your opponent's requirement to meet I had a serious brain fart just then. I may have had an aneurysm.
Play requirement to
basically
confront the problem.
increases. Yeah, it basically increases your requirements. So
Yes, requirement to confront the problem.
yes.
For example, on Pinkie here, it has her boosted side has a +1 to on the problem to confront it. A lot of Pink also has the ability Random, which is basically if you go into a face-off and say you flip that critical 0, you can, flip again because Random. Random says specifically if you flip a 1 or lower power, if I
It's
recall
only
correctly.
one.
I think
One?
pretty
Oh,
sure
is
it's
it
just
only one?
1s.
It's only one.
Oh, well, I apologize.
Well, there are lots of ones.
I just ruined the entire intro.
You're fired.
Bye. Okay, so maybe not that, but if you happen to flip one of the critical 1s, just flip again. Oh, look, now I flipped 6 instead of a 1, which saved my face-off, saved my bacon.
Yes.
So,
It's a very disruptive color, and it's if you look at it a certain way, it's really ironic because one of Pinkie's signature abilities is dismissing people from the board. So, like, not killing the friend, but like it sends them to
Dismissing them.
dismissal.
Telling them to go
So
home. Go home,
Basically,
you're
send-
drunk.
Not every opponent can party as hard as Pinkie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically
so-
saying,
Let's
let's
be
go
honest.
party in the discard deck is basically like, oh, you've got some friends over there, go party with them.
It's either you're going to have all your friends there, or you're going to have none of your friends there.
Rainbow Dash.
Rainbow Dash. So I'm sure you can all imagine Rainbow Dash's speed. She is quick. All of her cards are quick, mostly mechanics. Her flip side is what's called Swift. Swift basically allows you to move cheaper. It doesn't cost you as much to move across the board. And that's pretty true of most of her cards. That's what she does. And she also does a lot of troublemaker manipulation, so making them harder to beat, making it so that when you go up against it, if you don't win that face-off, you might lose a friend, you might frighten a friend. There's a few. Rainbow Dash has got some very, I'm sure you all remember the Halloween episode with Luna and her flying around on a cloud, messing with everybody. Well, that is a mechanic in the game. It is a fright mechanic, so she'll just run around and scare you all to death, and it's really
And then swoop
annoying.
away with all the action.
Extremely annoying.
All
Both
the
of those
swoop points.
jokers play
Uh-huh.
lots of frightening.
It's fun.
And try one. And try
You
one.
know, it's good.
Just, no. But a lot of her cards will say you move one card, you pay to go ahead and move that one card, but it'll drag another card with it. And what's nice about that is, again, it stacks. So you move one card, it's got the same, move a friend for free, then text, and as many of those as you have out on the board, as long as they have that card text, you could move 5 friends for 2 action tokens and have 10 power at a problem for nothing. Nothing. So she is definitely speed and power is kind of her thing, and it's very nice.
Princess Celestia.
Dear Princess Celestia.
I haven't played a whole lot of Celestia yet. I've played this one in particular. This one, it's in the yellow suite, so you get that same critter. Like, she's very friend heavy, and just a hallmark of yellow in general. This one is Celestia, at least this particular one, is dependent on resources. Like, you can use a resource to basically jack up one of your yellow friends to like a super, super high power level. There are a lot of mains that you use, like Rainbow Dash is a great example of one that you usually take 2 problems and you do a lot of your fighting with Rainbow Dash. Celestia is one that likes to sit in the back row and just kind of shoot from the back. She's really interesting. Another just really fun one to play if you like something that's a little bit more tinkery, but you still want a little bit more of that ease to play that yellow gives you. Celestia is a really, really good choice.
Luna, the other purple main currently.
Lunas.
Luna is a lot of fun. There are currently 2 different versions of Luna. That's the one that actually comes in the starter deck. She's a lot of fun. Each Luna plays a little differently, but they're very heavily based on lots of events. Purple is a pretty event-heavy color. There's a card called Back Where You Began that has Discord on it, has some fun flavor text, lets you move friends around. Cards like Magic Duel, which say if you win, you get an action token. Luna does a really good job at manipulating a lot of those. This main in particular, you can read the boost side. It even says, if you're in a face-off and you have events in your hand, you don't want to play them? Okay, you can just get rid of them, get free power. Luna, she's very good at manipulating that kind of stuff. The other Luna lets you pay action tokens to flip her to get events to put in your hand. So she's very strategic. You use a lot of other cards. You get to use cards that were not for the intended purpose, like, that event that I was going to play, I'm actually not going to play it and get more power. So it lets you use other cards for other purposes, specifically events.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of fun manipulation power with your own cards.
This one is lovingly called Shotgun Luna. I lost a game last night where I was like, yeah, I got this win. Event, plus 12 power.
Well, shoot.
Well done.
Well,
Never
Good
mind.
that
game.
just happened.
Not everyone's a winner.
Nope. Not today.
Nice try. Gold star.
Onward to DJ Pone 3.
Guess we have to go again. Okay, so this one just came out. Of course, again, in the Rock and Rave 2-player kit. She's really nifty, obviously. She likes to party almost as much as Pinkie does. you get to boost her actually in a pretty easy way. All you have to do is draw 3 cards, which at the beginning of your turn, you draw a card anyway. And one of the game's mechanics is if you want to pay action tokens to draw cards, you're allowed to. So if you really want to, and you're going second, you can flip her on your first turn. So, once she boosts, then the party really gets going, as you can kind of see with some of that text if you've been reading ahead. You can exhaust her, which means that you kind of make her inoperable for face-offs to just draw a card for free. So, if you need more things for your party, you can go ahead and do that. And then, of course, if you have lots of friends with her, then you can ready her before a really important face-off. So she's really just a big party animal. A lot of fun, works with Pink a lot. So yeah, not too much to say there in terms of strategy because she did just come out. Some people are finding ways to, use her a lot to draw cards, discard cards, get cards back. There's a lot of fun ways you can use drawing in this game, but that's kind of more of a strategy discussion, so we'll kind of keep it there. She's a lot of fun. You should play her.
There's a lot of the draw mechanic in Pink cards too.
Yeah.
So like I used to play a deck in the first set that most Pinkie Pie decks use dismissal as a pretty core function. I used one that was basically all drawing just to get weapons into my hand to play them and score points.
There aren't weapons in the game.
Not weapons. That's a
Weapons.
terrible term. Friendship objects. Words are hard.
Initiate friendship.
But I've been
apparatus.
waiting for this one to come out for a
The
while.
orbital friendship
To I'm waiting for this one to come out to do more of the draw mechanic strategy. And now we have rocks.
Mod. This card. Okay, so going back to what I was saying earlier about how orange was powerful. First off, she's relatively easy to flip, only requiring 1 friend and 1 resource to be in play. Drop just an easy 1-drop friend, 1-drop resource, flip it over into your main phase, she flips, and then you have her boosted side.
Something
her
Tarmogoyf.
boosted side.
Oh boy, her
Anybody?
boosted side. Oh my God.
She's a 3 power to begin with. She doesn't have any extra ability like Seduce or Orange usual class Stubborn. However, this card has +1 power for each type of card in your discard pile. That means events, resources, troublemakers, additional friends that could be in there. That's at least 4 different cards. So by herself, she's a 7 power card. 7 power friend.
Just to
7
put
power
that in
maker.
perspective, that's really dumb. It's very, very powerful.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
Borderline
that's
table
stupid.
flip.
A little
I
bit.
would-
Another hallmark of the orange is kind of like it's the reverse of pink, where you like draw a lot of cards. Orange makes your opponent and/or yourself discard cards. Mod takes advantage of that by the cards that you discard boosts her power. So not only could you pump your own character by discarding your own cards, you get those cards that basically take your opponent's hand out of their hands. So you can't really do anything if you don't have any cards, which is really, really mean.
Whoops.
Oh look, you dropped Nightmare.
Did
Man.
I do
Well,
that? Sorry.
Womp, womp, womp. Color combinations.
Color combinations. This is a very, very interesting thing because no matter what 2 colors, at least for right now, that you pick, you can play just about any 2 color combinations like 8 or 9 different ways. For example, I've seen blue and purple played like 6 different ways. These 2 over here will play two different varieties of purple blue, even though they're again purple blue.
Yeah.
I personally will play orange blue as though it's basically fast and hard power, while others will play it for the discard and just using blue to move them around places that supplement the discard.
Yep, and I play a color combo. I play white-pink. White-pink has kind of been a standard color combo for a while now, but I will tell you, due to the mechanics, I play a white-pink that is not a standard white-pink. Usually white is control and dismissal. I don't really do a whole lot of that in my particular build, but that being said, because of what's out there, my white-pink might be very different from your white-pink, and it's really, and very excited with the new Rock and Rave they do. The mod came with a secondary rarity main to play, so there's now a lot of opportunity for white-orange, which we have been waiting for a very long time. It's really, It's got a lot of potential. Like, it's really a lot of color combos is about finding, like I said, I started with Rarity because she's my favorite. Everything after that was like, okay, how do I make her better? How do I make this work the way, learning your play style, learning how you enjoy the game. I played Rainbow Dash, I played Fluttershy for a long time because I know my play style. I like things to be a little bit quicker. I'm very impatient. Rarity is very much you have to be very patient. so it's an exercise.
For those that are watching the YouTube video, I am nodding hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of talk in terms of color combos. There's a lot of strategic discussion that can be had about that. But for those of you who are like, you just bought a starter deck and are trying to figure out, or haven't bought a starter deck yet and we're thinking about it, the main point here is that if you want to do it, just do it.
Yeah.
It will probably work out for you. Have fun, find combos that work for you because each color can play a little differently depending on what you pair it with. So have fun, experiment, play with the friends you like, and find something that works for you.
Yes.
That's the advice I give a lot of new players is start with your favorite pony. Start with best pony and go from there. You may find that like my favorite pony is Pinkie Pie, but I do really well with like the purple cards. I do pretty well with, I played a lot of Fluttershy. Doesn't mean I don't play pink at all, but that's really the fun of this game is to find like, Kuroma loves Rarity, so she's been pretty much exclusively in Rarity with a few stints in other colors, but she's found some really interesting just out-of-the-box combos just by sticking with it and trying to learn. That being said, go play the other colors, see what you like, see what works well for your style, and just have some fun with it.
That's ringtone.
So, finding people to play.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this one because I run events at a lot of stores, and I've had to get a lot of people into the game. I've accidentally done it. I'm like, oh, you like Pony? Oh, have you tried the game? No, I'm gonna buy some boxes. All right. So, learning to play, especially if you're in an area that doesn't have a local game store, which we'll get into in a second, can be kind of hard. So, there are in-person and not in-person avenues in which you can approach to play the game. If you will start at the local game store. If you have a game shop in your local area, just go to the store and see if they sell the product. A lot of game shops, the game has grown a lot in the last 6 or 7 months. In Georgia, like it went to like a couple stores selling it to pretty much every store in the Metro Atlanta area has lots of the product and they get it all the time because it sells out. So if you go to your local store and they have it, they probably have some people that play, and it's great to ask them like, hey, do you guys do a weekly league? Do you play on Friday? Do you play on Saturday? Do you play on Tuesday? They'll probably already have something set up for all you know. There's a chance they may not. They may sell the product, but like, oh, we don't have any organized play. And most game stores, you're like, well, like, do you know when they come in? And you can try to use, a lot of the stores will have like a call board or like a little whiteboard where you can like request play groups and you can say I want to meet with players that play this game, and you can usually game shops have a social avenue which you can do that. If the store does not sell the product, talk to them about it. Say like, well, a lot of game stores will probably order something for you if you will buy it from them. So if they know that even if you're willing to like put money down on like a starter deck, they will probably get some starter decks in for you because they would want you to go to their store. So it's like, would they want to sell you a deck, or they want Amazon to sell you a deck? And that also encourages the store to actually have the product, because then, other people might see the decks on the shelf and they might be interested, and then you can actually get a play group started. If you don't have a local store, which I know like in some more rural areas or in certain parts of the United States, there's a little less of that. There's Facebook. There are a lot of Facebook groups. There's also, if you're a Reddit user, there is a subreddit where people talk and they try to set up games. They'll talk about strategy. Most social media outlets have a community for the game. Just search MLP, CCG, or My Little Pony card game. You will find some groups that would be willing to help you. As far as playing, you would think it actually wouldn't work out, but if you have 2 people playing on Skype, it actually works really well if you have a webcam. We've done it a few times in testing. I've actually judged a few online tournaments that one of my friends has done, like charity tournaments for. All you have to do is get your webcam, face it down, play your cards out, and most of the time, you know, you can play a game with like 0 hookups. You know, when you're newer, it can get a little harder because the play space is a little more abstract. But it's definitely, like, if you need to learn, it's definitely doable. So don't feel left out if you don't really have people in your local area to play with, or you don't have friends to play the game with you, because you can find ways to play, and you can find people who will teach you. I don't know, you guys have anything with that? Or?
I think you covered it all.
Okay.
Obviously, we're at BronyCon, the largest collection of bronies ever.
If you have a starter deck, you'll probably find someone else who also just bought a starter deck, and you can probably get something set up.
I have a
Talk
Or
amongst
if you
yourselves.
go to the Crystal Arena and they're not running a regional, there's probably some seats in there for you to play. There's also, like, every day at 5, like on Friday and Saturday, there's like a trade group in like the Salt Block Lounge. There's tons of benches. Like, just pick up and play if you see somebody with product, or, you know. Okay, yeah, this is okay. Let's do this.
So, as you play, you'll once you learn how to play, some people are very competitive. Some people aren't. Especially as you're learning how to play, it's okay if you lose. Go into it, especially if you're testing a new deck. Go into it thinking, I'm going to learn something from this game, whether I lose or I win. Sometimes, like, you'll get blown out, but you think, hey, this would be a really great color combo, or I could do this to fix the deck. So, especially if you're playing competitively or just, you know, with friends at a local game shop, if you lose, remember, it's a game about cartoon pastel-colored horses. It's all good. Don't dwell on it. Just try to have fun with the next game.
Yep. Always try to learn something.
On that note, don't be a sore winner either. It's hard when you have that game where you just blow someone out, and you just want to go to your friends and be like, yeah, just beat this guy 15-1, and like.
Nobody likes to hear that.
Especially
Nobody likes
guys-
to hear
Nobody
that.
likes the great and powerful
Just
Trixie, and you don't want to have to be a great and apologetic Trixie.
No.
So just avoid Trixie altogether.
Yeah,
Okay.
just-
Thanks, bro. Thanks.
So don't be these guys. Don't.
Bullet point about this. How many of you guys here are actually experienced players for the game and just wanted to see what's going on? Oh, nice.
Sweet.
So, I think it goes without saying, especially if you played card games before, if you're running into newer players, be constructive if you're going to, like, criticism is important when you're learning, especially if you don't know how to build a deck very well yet, but make sure that if you're giving advice, make sure you're giving them advice that wants them to actually take the advice. Don't be like, your deck sucks because this card's in here and you need to not do that. You know, like, oh, I like your deck. Have you thought about running this card? Have you thought about trying this? Like, you might find it really works for you. You want to make sure that your play group is happy. You want to make sure everyone you're playing with is happy. Like, you are new, just as they are new now. So make sure that you're giving them the same courtesy that other people gave you when you're starting out.
Yeah, let people play. Let people play the way they want to play. So, like, there are obvious combos and color combinations with certain mains that work extremely well, and some people will run those just to win games. And if you're that player,
That's fine.
that's totally cool.
Yeah.
Don't judge other people if they're not running that same thing as you. Like, you're gonna have the people that are super competitive, and then the people like, I just really like Celestia, so I'm just gonna run Celestia. That's fine. That's what this game is about. It's about having fun with your favorite ponies, and yeah, fun.
Fun?
Oh, God.
What have I done? So where to buy? This is we'll go through this one really quick because we're running out of time. We want to answer your questions, and
Give you stuff.
wait, I thought this was mine.
Oh, sorry, dear. Why?
So obviously, Pack Breakers downstairs is a. You will find this, as we mentioned earlier. Any local game store that you find, if they don't have it, ask them to carry it. Most stores will order them for you. And also your everyday big box places, Target and Walmart,
Yep,
pretty
Target and
consistently
Walmart.
have packs and starter decks.
So does Toys R Us.
Toys R Us as well.
And by far the easiest place to acquire is Amazon. Amazon sells a lot of the starter decks and bits and pieces and stuff like that that you need to play as well.
Style.
Okay, so there's a lot of things you can do to kind of, if you want to really personalize the game itself. You have sleeves to either, you can use sleeves for a multitude of reasons to protect your cards first and foremost. You know, I run a really pretty green color because I like the color green. There are ones like he's showing right there that'll have the mains on them, which is really fun. There's also play mats, which again are used for a multitude of reasons, mostly to protect the cards. That's why a lot of people play it. What you see right there, yeah. So what you see right there, that mat right there was something provided that Interplay came up with, and yes. And what you see right there, oh yes.
That's right.
Oh, we all have to show it off.
Nice try, Robbie.
Okay,
There we
somebody
go.
didn't get the memo. You also.
No apples!
No apples. And your other option is there are a couple of great websites out there that will allow you to do custom play mats. So you do have some options as far as getting, so the product that you want for the main you want may not be out there, but heavens, you can just go and certain websites will do it for you. You pull the artwork and they'll put it on a play mat for you, or they'll put it on sleeves, or they'll put it on a dice bag, or they'll, any number of things like
When
that.
possible, try and ask the artist first.
Yes, when possible, ask the artist first. That is most important for sure. We don't want to be stealing anybody's artwork. So,
I made this.
yeah, no, we don't want that either. So, but that's really kind of the long and short of it. So, there are just a few ways. Like we have I started out with little glass beads when I was using my counters.
Little gems.
they're-
And if you want to see all this up close, because obviously I'm
Yeah,
all the way
it's
back
kinda
here.
hard back here.
Like snacks.
Show and tell if you want to see what I was talking about. Oh, I want to see the gems.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So anything, you can use anything like that. I mean, we've seen people use all sorts of stuff, so. Go ahead.
So again, to reiterate, we went through we covered a lot of stuff. This is probably, you're probably going to forget it by the time you sit down with the cards and like, what does this mean? That's okay. It's just going to take you some time to play and kind of learn and find a friend to kind of learn it together with. Like, Chroma and I had to learn by ourselves.
Yep, just the two of us.
And we did so many things wrong.
Oh my gosh, it was embarrassing.
It was ludicrous, and we didn't figure it out until later. And that's okay. That's why those online communities are available. The dev staff is really great about answering questions on
Yes.
the Facebook group.
The dev staff is wonderful, and you can talk to. And again, a lot of them are here over in the Crystal Arena. They love to talk the game. They'll happily, like I said, they are doing the demos all day, every day basically. So don't be afraid to go talk to them because they really are super fantastic people. We're lucky enough to live in the area where a lot of the devs live, so we get to interact with them a lot, and they really are super fun to play with. They have great ideas, great advice, so don't be afraid to talk to them.
Yes, give them your opinions and your ideas.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
All right.
That too.
So now we are
That's
going
what
to
I'll
open the
get
floor
printed
to some.
but yeah, before we do some questions, we do have some stuff to give away.
Yes.
I'm going to do this one first.
Okay, go for it.
Okay,
Yes, so we do have things for you.
I want to find the person who traveled the farthest to get here. So if you think you're a contender for that, yes.
Okay.
Sure. You in the front. North Carolina.
Carolina?
Ontario. Okay.
Ooh, okay. Middle
Middle
Ontario.
Ontario.
Ooh,
Okay.
boy.
Can anyone beat
Whoa.
Middle Ontario?
Oh,
Okay.
over here.
Annapolis.
Okay, and back here with the glasses? Oh, my goodness.
Okay. Who can beat Germany?
Who can beat Germany?
I'll answer
Can
that.
anyone do China?
Can anyone beat Frankfurt?
I don't think so.
Wait, sorry. Frankfurt, Germany.
Can anyone really beat Germany?
Germany.
Yeah, I think we got that.
That's
Oh,
a
back
close-
there.
Touch.
I might actually have to get Google out for that.
Okay.
What was that?
Well, we have
Huh?
two. We can.
Uh-oh, Sweden.
Oh.
Should we have them come up and do a rock,
I
paper,
think
scissors
Germany is
for...
still farther.
Oh, I don't know. Rock. Well, you know what? We actually, luckily, we have a lot of prizes. So you know what? Each of you are getting a special prize pack. I
There we
guess
go.
we'll
Problem
let you rock
solved.
paper scissors for who goes first.
Problem
While Chroma's hanging out the prize, if Sweden and Germany could come up, I'll go ahead and describe what we get.
Sweden and Germany.
So each of you are going to be getting one of the Kennerla Knight starter decks. One of them is Celestia, and one of them is Luna. Oh no, I'm not done yet.
Now go play each other.
We ain't
Also,
even done.
Each of them is getting a special promo that the developers are handing out, a special Awizodal alt art promo that you can only get from the developers. So congratulations
Be
to them.
jelly.
Congrats on their decks.
All right.
Okay, here's the important question. Who won the rock, paper, scissors? I need to know.
Oh yeah, who won?
Who won? No, guys. Who won the rock, paper, scissors? Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh,
that's fine. There
World
we
War
go.
Do we
III
have
was
any kids
avoided.
out there?
Do it.
Uh-oh.
Do it.
Uh-oh, we're gonna have to do it anyway. All right.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway.
The wheel
Yeah.
of fate
Yes,
is
rock,
turning.
paper, scissors, shoot.
Rebel 1, action.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, there.
Tres.
Yeah, while they're doing that, let's work on something else. There's your first one with the
All right.
game.
I was going to give this away to
Oh, okay, go.
Do we have any young kids in the audience?
By young, we're probably looking at 10 and under.
10 and under?
Yes.
Anyone?
I know we're all
Okay.
children at
10
heart.
and under.
but-
If you could come up, if your guardians like to come with you, they're free to as well. But looking for
Otherwise, you're
a couple of the
good?
kids.
All
We got some
right.
prizes for some kids.
Okay, so
We got the prize kits we have.
that.
So what are we giving away over here?
A lunch tin. I like to keep my decks.
A lot of us use those as storage. Some deck boxes, you put sleeves in there.
And then this Pinkie Pie playmat.
Thanks, Rob. Alrighty, so we have one more starter deck left. Honesty policy, this is for some beginners, so if you're an experienced player, you probably don't need it anyway. Can anyone who is new and was here for the first time, never played the card game, tell me what the different card types are? Okay, saw the first hand right down here.
The different card types are the mains,
Main,
resources.
resource.
It was the resources.
No, I can't do it, sorry.
Two
2 of 5.
Remember, in a tournament,
Okay.
your friends can
I
help
saw that
you
one come up
play.
first.
Sorry.
Aw.
Main.
That's what it is.
Yes, you.
You can help each other learn.
Okay, we're missing one. Can you get it? Can you get it? You got 5 seconds. Alrighty. This hand came up down here.
Okay, mains, troublemakers, problems, events, resources, and
We're missing one.
Doc.
I'll give you-
Sleepy. It's the naming the Seven Dwarfs, right? Doc, Sleepy.
Yeah, you got it. Okay, I'll give you got 5 seconds. Okay, so we have some more prizes. So, okay, the last one was friend, but you got 6, so we're gonna give it to you.
Close enough.
We do have other things to give away.
To be fair, I made that.
Yes,
to
we
be
do.
fair, that was a very hard quiz. So good job, friend, for
All
moving
right.
6.
We're going to move to a very quick Q&A. If we have some questions, let's start with the gentleman in the fez.
Could you text, if you have like a favorite friend or a favorite resource, could you just, if you have enough of them, could you just like build,
Wonderful.
There we go.
so
Thank you.
I'm close enough. If you have a favorite friend or a favorite resource, could you technically build your deck with just those as your friends / resources?
Technically, no. I
Oh.
love where you're going with that, but technically, in part of a deck build, you can only have 3.
Three of any one
Yeah,
friend.
3 of any one friend, resource card, whatever it is. Problem decks, you can only have 2 of a particular problem. Okay. Next.
So no, you cannot have a deck of 45
This will
berry
probably be our
frames.
last question.
Why would you do
Do we
that?
have users?
Okay, coming from playing other card games like Pokemon and particularly Magic, just from you guys, how is it possible to, and how bad of an idea is it to go over 2 colors?
Actually,
That's actually a really great question.
I will actually take this one. Okay, so it's usually a little difficult to play more than 2 colors, but I will say I know I've specifically been playing with trying to create a tri-color deck, so 3 colors. You can play something that's called what we call a splash deck, where you have one main color, then you just throw a bunch of non-requirement basics in there. So that kind of takes it more than that. But 3 colors is possible if done properly with the right balance. It's a little difficult, especially if you're just starting out. But I highly recommend for you to figure it out, because we haven't seen a really great true 3-color deck. You'll see some things splash, but not a true 3-color deck.
That's the fun where you can.
Rob's got something.
FYI,
Rob's
there's a
great.
main character coming out in our next product, Celestial Solstice, that strongly supports more colors. And set 3, Crystal Games, has Prismatic, which helps you play more colors as well.
Oh my goodness.
So,
I'm learning all
Straight
sorts of
from the
new
source,
things
guys.
today. Even
You
we
heard
didn't
it here
know this.
first. Ish.
All right, so we are out of
So-
time. I want to go ahead and thank everyone for coming. We do have 3 prize kits. If you are brand new to the game and you have ideally if you have a young kid, we have some instant little collection we can give out. If you want to see any of the stuff we had, come take a look.
Feel free to come take a look.
Parting
Yeah.
words from our host.
Yeah, parting words.
Just want to thank everyone for coming, and with the 2 gentlemen who asked the questions, come up and receive some booster packs.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much, guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
everyone.
much for coming, guys. We really
Make sure to
appreciate
go to
it.
the Crystal Arena for a demo if you wish to actually
Yes.
see the game in action.
and get a free booster pack.
Free booster pack.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hold everything.
What'd you?
I need to get.
Oh no, guys. Pip got his scarf out.